Welcome to the day 2 of Tokyo Democracy Forum, Civic Space, and COVID-19 Asian countries. Today, we will talk about thematic issues on COVID-19, civic space, SDGs, and human rights in Asian countries. Thank you for all the participants yesterday. We had 8 presenters speak about their situations in respective countries. But unfortunately, we did not have enough time to discuss the questions and the comment from the two commentators. So today, we expect more fruitful discussion among presenters yesterday and today. And today's session will be moderated by Mr. Ansel Moody, Regional Coordinator of APSD. So, Ansel, the floor is yours. Ansel, I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. Thank you for the introduction. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Anselmo Lee from Seoul. We are happy to see snow today again, not very cold. And snow means a blessing from heaven. Okay, today's session is a continuation of yesterday. As I always say, yesterday we have the 8-country presentation. So today I'm going to introduce background and objective of the today's session and also the speakers. Can you show the PowerPoint? Okay, so for those who are not with us yesterday, I'm going to repeat what has been presented as a general background of this Tokyo Democracy Forum. So this is a follow-up to Kathmandu Democracy Forum held November last year. And since then, the many researchers, the participants of the Kathmandu Democracy Forum, we continue to work together for last 3 months. So this is a result of 3 months collective research and reflection. And basically, both Kathmandu and Tokyo Democracy Forum, we try to address the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on human rights and democracy, particularly civic space. At the same time, civil society response to challenges of COVID-19. So this time we have selected 9 countries and 4 themes. And 9 countries are Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, 5 from South Asia, Cambodia, Singapore, Kazakhstan, and Japan, host country. And also we have 4 themes: democracy, election, media freedom, inequality, migration, especially ASEAN and overall Asia. But today is a thematic report. So we have 5 reports about 4 themes, because we have 2 reports about the migrant and also 1 about country, Japan. We didn't have enough time to make a presentation about Japan. So all the outcome of discussion will be incorporated into Tokyo Democracy Forum recommendation for Solidarity Action 2021. So we will discuss also what kind of international solidarity action we can take out of this Tokyo during the discussion. Next, please. So this is a short history of Democracy Forum. Starting January 2018, Busan, we went to Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, Kathmandu, and then Tokyo. But Tokyo is a regular one, starting 2019, and then Busan also continue. So we are going to organizing this type of the Democracy Forum in different places to address civic space and also link to the SDG, particularly SDG 16. So that's why this is organized by JANIC, which is a member of ADA, Asia Development Alliance, and also APSD and many other international forums. So once again, thank you, JANIC, for your contribution to our reflection on democracy in Asia. Next one. So this is a short background of Democracy Forum, starting from Busan. And after this Tokyo, there will be also Gwangju Democracy Forum by May 18 Foundation. So we have more and then go deeper into some issues for not only the discussion, but also concrete action among different actors on democracy. Next, please. So yesterday, this was a program, 8-country presentation. Today, the 5 topic and Japan. Japan, we will get the reports. Next. So this was the guiding question yesterday. Yesterday was just a more description and a little bit of analysis of a country situation. but discussion will take place today. The next. This is the data about 9 countries, COVID-19, in terms of the confirmed deaths. So as you see, we have 9 countries. Some are more the deaths, and other countries less, but all are below world average. So we'll discuss more later on the overview. The next, please. And this also infographic about 30 countries. Next. And this also data collection, trying to see the correlation between the COVID-19 and democracy, civic space, and then economic human development, and also SDGs. So we listened to a presentation, and also we will listen to 5 more presentations. You can try to figure out, what are the connections and interlinkage or correlations among 3, COVID-19, democracy, and SDG. So of course, depend on the country. So whether there is a general trend in Asia, especially among countries. So this is a common question for all while listening to today's presentation and also during discussion. The next, please. And after listening to 8 country presentation, this is a kind of the common factors, key governance factors affecting government performance and results. Why there are such a big difference among 9 countries in terms of the confirmed deaths and also confirmed cases? Because 9 countries, they have a different economic level and a political system and different culture. So these are the about 10 the factors which can be considered when we analyze the differences among 9 countries, trying to understand the interrelation between politics, public health, and civil society, and also trying to develop kind of lesson learned or get some idea about what can we do as a civil society to tackle these common challenges, but different contexts in different countries. Okay, now next, please. So now today's, so we have a short welcome and introduction, and then soon, immediately, we have a country report about Japan by Haruna Kuraishi, and then 5 thematic reports. So I will give you the regional overview, more details about data, then followed by the 5 thematic reports, and then we have some expert comment from 3 Japanese experts, and then we have a Q&A and open discussion. So during open discussion, we will formulate kind of the Tokyo Democracy Forum recommendation for action. Okay, last. So these are the comments and questions from day 1. So we didn't have enough time to discuss these questions. So I want to introduce those questions and comments for speakers today. And the first one was, what should be the role of democracy, or why substantive democracy is important to tackle impact of COVID-19? Because 9 countries have different form of democracy. But question is the substantial democracy, more economic aspect as well, So these are the one question. Second question was, what are the key factors determining the impact of COVID-19 and government performance among 9 countries? So these are general questions: economy, political system, ideology, culture, or what, And then 3, 4, 5 is a more specific one. Yesterday, in some country report mentioned about the vaccine, especially the India, China provide the vaccine free of charge for neighboring countries. So any comment on this role of these 2 countries? Number 4 was, is it necessary and desirable to make a vaccination compulsory? Is it vaccination safe? What if some people refuse for safety reasons? So a lot of controversy, but nevertheless, government is bringing this vaccination as a policy. So there is some discussion about whether we need to make it compulsory or not. Last question is a little bit specific. Death rate of COVID-19 was less than 2% compared to Ebola, very high, 90%. But yet economic impact COVID is far-reaching and very heavier, So some participants asking for comment on this, seemingly not proportionate response to COVID-19. We are taking too seriously or unproportionately, So these are some controversial questions. So you are not obliged to answer this question. You can answer this question in writing, but if speakers find it relevant to today's topic, you may take some of the questions. Okay, so next. And today's guiding question, so 5 thematic presenters, they will focus on major findings. So you can find the full report in the Google. I think it was introduced. You can find the full text of their presentation and the research. But today we will focus only the major findings for group discussion. So key question is overall assessment of impact of COVID-19 in terms of their theme: democracy, election, media freedom, inequality, and migration. Migration in Asia general and focus on ASEAN. So after these major findings, and I'm going to ask a few questions and response to yesterday country report, make a link between yesterday 9 countries, including Japan, and also this thematic, and also key question about governance factors. What are the key governance factors determining the different results and the dynamics and also impact? And the last question will be key recommendation and suggestions. But this part is not only today's speaker, but yesterday presenters country, they can also make one contribution for international solidarity action based on their country reports. So these are the questions, guiding questions. Okay, so these are again like yesterday, you can send a question and comment using this Slido and enter HAPPIC and then select number 22, Tokyo Democracy Forum. So we will read or we share your comment and question among speakers during the discussion. Okay, so thank you for your participation. Enjoy our session. And then feel free to comment and participate as much as possible. Okay, this is our introduction. And then now I'm going to invite Haruna to make a country presentation about Japan. Haruna, you have a floor, the 6 minutes, please.
Okay, can I use this slide or PowerPoint to introduce?
Yes, can you open it by yourself?
Can you see my slide?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Haruna Kurashi from Japan Youth Platform for Sustainability, which is like a youth-led advocacy platform in Japan. Thank you for having me today. I'm in this brief presentation, I would like to present mainly the following points. The first one is about findings on the impact of the COVID-19 in Japan. And the second one is about a brief assessment on whether frameworks on human rights and SDGs have been used effectively in Japan or not. Okay. One of the most important factors is limited access to health. The third wave of COVID-19, which began in late November and last year, rapidly exceeded capacity of the health institution in Japan. Compared to previous epidemics, the third wave was huge, but comparatively huge, with the number of new infections averaging over 5,000 per day, and deaths exceeding 80 per day in late January this year. Japan's healthcare system failed to ensure the public right to diagnosis and treatment. The number of PCR tests conducted in Japan is lower compared to other countries with similar GDP. Furthermore, according to the National Police Agency, 65 patients with COVID-19 died at home without access to a hospital between January 1st and January 2025 in this year. Such a severe situation or access to health is connected to other social issues, such as untransparent governance and discrimination to infected persons and other vulnerable population and so on. Additionally, it has been revealed that access to information and space for journalism has been limited, even amidst the emergent period of the pandemic. The number of lawmakers' refusal to questions by journalists and others has been increasing in the recent years. Our survey of the tendency of ministers and bureaucrats to refuse to answer questions in recent years counted more than 300 times per year in the last 5 years of the Abe administration. Actually, at this moment, now it is the administration of Suga, but this administration is not exceptional. Also, the number of members of the press who can participate in the Prime Minister's press conference is also limited. Under the pretext of avoiding dentists' crowded environment, other free journalists are selected by lottery apart from full-time secretaries of the Cabinet Press Club. Considering the impact of this challenging situation in Japan, unfortunately, the SDGs human rights framework and the principles have not been fully secured is my impression. To overcome this situation, I believe that these frameworks of human rights and SDGs must become common principles among government, civil society, and other stakeholders. Specifically, human rights frameworks and SDGs provide us with several keys to solving our common tragedy. For example, governance that expands openness, transparency, and accountability is one of the key ones, as mentioned in the targets of SDG 16. Furthermore, these dimensions of governance can apply to domestic issue in Japan, of course, and also the context of vaccination policy at the global and regional level. Finally, CSOs and the government and other stakeholders should cooperatively monitor the human rights situation about whether to expand the openness, transparency, and accountability of vaccine production and the procurement of vaccine and other COVID-19 too. Yeah, thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Haruna. Thank you very much. So your first speaker, you're just on time, you just spend the 6 minutes as required. Thank you very much for your cooperation. So now we have received the 8 country presentation, including Japan today. So I'm going to present to you kind of summary of the 8 country or 9 country. All 9 country report focus on COVID-19, democracy, civic space, and also SDG. Particularly, Haruna mentioned about link between SDG 16 and civic space. So I'm going to present to you the overview. Aoi, can you please put up the website? I believe you have received this PowerPoint. So you can go through PowerPoint while listening to my short introduction. Okay, next, please. So these are content. The next. So these are the 9 countries. We have 1 from South Asia, Central Asia, 5 from South Asia, 2 from Southeast Asia, 1 from Japan. So we have a OECD country, Japan, and also LDC country, and then emerging economy, the different levels of economy, and also different types of political system. Next. So these are data. So you can see 9 countries here. Kazakhstan, you can see number of deaths and also number of the confirmed cases per million. And also there is a total population, because the large country, of course, a high number. So we have to use this average, 1 per 1 million. And also last column, also you can see top 20 countries according to Worldometer. So you can compare the Asian countries and also other countries, particularly Europe and North America. Next, please. So this is in terms of global average. As of yesterday, today is 16, and world average is 309 per million. It's per million. But all the Asian countries far below this world average. That means good performance in terms of result, the confirmed death. But you see the other countries, other region, UK is 1,720 per million. US is number 9 from top and almost 1,500 per million. So if you look at some countries in Asia, we have Nepal. Nepal is one of the highest, 70 per million. Oh no, India is a little bit higher. India is 112. And then Kazakhstan, 101. And then we have Pakistan and Japan, yellow color. And then Bangladesh. And the green one, we have a few green. And Sri Lanka, 18 per million. Singapore, 5 per million. And Cambodia, 0 per million. And you can see also other countries as well. Taiwan also extremely good. And China also relatively good. And then Mongolia, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. So now big question is, what are the determining factors? The all different results within Asia. And then they have a different democratic system, political system, economic levels, and civic space. These are key questions. How can we explain about these differences? What can we do as a civil society to tackle those challenges? So these are common questions for all the country and the thematic reports. Next, please. So these are infographic again. So relatively speaking, comparatively speaking, the Northeast Asia is much better. There's no red, green or yellow and light green. And then Central Asia, 3 reds and then 1 yellow. And the South Asia, Bhutan, Bhutan is one of the green. And then 5 are red. Southeast Asia is very mixed. We have 3 red and 6 green and 1 yellow. So Southeast Asia also quite good, but there's a big difference between 3 countries, Indonesia and Myanmar, Philippines, and the rest, So we need to know how can explain about difference within Southeast Asia, So the huge gap, Next, please. So now there is an Australian research institution, the Lowy Institute. They published very interesting data the last month, January. Then next slide, please. They use 5 or 7 indicators. The confirmed cases of death per million, and then the test as well. So according to this measuring performance, the result is infographic, very interesting. The next, please. So these are graphs. So from January to January, over 1 year, they show the different level of performance. Some country in the beginning very good and then going down, up and down. Look at Singapore. Singapore in the middle, in the beginning, and now going up. Singapore is one of the best performance among 9 countries. And then Nepal in the beginning it was very good and then going down, but slightly going up now. So you see Pakistan yellow, and then down and up. And also you can see Sri Lanka also relatively good, top, and then it's slowly going down, So I think each country report, so you can match the country report explanation and then this graph, the changes up and down, and also when, because it's over the last 12 months, there are many events or incidents and over the last 12 months, so you can make a link. So what are the political events affecting this performance, or situation of coronavirus affecting this one, both ways. The next, please. So the final result is Sri Lanka is a top, average 76, followed by Singapore, Japan, Kazakhstan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bangladesh, and India. So there is no data about Cambodia, so not included here. India is lowest, Bangladesh. Next. Now look at democracy in Asia. So we have a famous economist democracy index published last year. Since 2016, they have, I think more than 10 years, they publish. There are 4 categories: full, float, hybrid, authoritarian regime. The next, please. Okay, these are explanation about 4 different categories. Next, next. So these are data. These are basic data last 6 years, because last 5 years, starting from 2016. So you can compare this democracy index with the SDG, because we have also SDG index from 2016. Next infographic, please. So these are results. So hardly any full democracy in Asia, but we have only 1 in Taiwan. So let's focus on 9 countries. We have a Kazakhstan, authoritarian, Bangladesh, hybrid, and India, between flow and hybrid, and Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Cambodia. Cambodia is authoritarian, and Sri Lanka is the hybrid or flow and mixed, and the Singapore also hybrid, and Japan is only 1, flow or full in between, you know. So these are the trend in the last 5 years. But last 5 years, as you can see, India is going down. 16 was the highest, and then 2020 going down. And then Japan, more or less no change. And Singapore also slightly going down. Cambodia also going down. So you can see within the country some trend in the last 5 years. Okay, next. And this is also another way of looking at this data. So as of 2020, Taiwan is the top, followed by Japan, South Korea. You know, these 3 countries are almost full democracy. And then Malaysia, India, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Bangladesh, flow democracy, and Nepal, Pakistan, hybrid, and Kazakhstan and Cambodia, and authoritarian regime. You know, so this is according to democracy index. But let's go to the civic space. So civic space slightly different from democracy. Democracy is more institution and form, but civic space is more freedom of association and assembly, which are more relevant to civil society action. So this is putting together the democracy and, these are 30 countries among 4 sub-regions. So generally Northeast Asia, green color. And then the big difference between the Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, and North Korea is a bottom, and China is very low. And then Central Asia also generally low, and many of them are authoritarian or hybrid. And then South Asia is a mixed. Okay, next. So now civic space. Oh, this is the colorful map. So now civic space in Asia. This is by Civicus monitoring. The sum of the NGO like ADN participating this Civicus monitoring project. The next, there are 5 categories: open, narrowed, and obstructed, and repressed, and then closed. Very similar to democracy. You know? So democracy, they have 4 categories, and civic space, we have 5 categories. Let's put this together. Okay, first the Civicus. 30 countries in Asia, very interesting. Last 6 years, there's no change. So among these 5 categories, always the same categories. Very interesting in last 5 years. That means there's no big difference between 2016 and 2020. But as you can see, sub-regionally and South Central Asia, relatively low, as Northeast Asia is the highest in average, and the South Asia, Southeast also mixed, very similar to democracy. The next, please. So this is a global map of civic space. Also Asia, more focus on Asia. The next. So now democracy, if you put this together, you can see it's not always corresponding. You know, for instance, India India is a flow democracy, 6.61, but in terms of civic space, repressed, right? But if you go to Kazakhstan, Kazakhstan is an authoritarian regime, but Kazakhstan is obstructed. But in terms of civic space, Kazakhstan is better than India. So there's a difference between the democracy and civic space. I think it's a very important point to look at. So when you analyze the country situation, so they're very useful. This provides very useful insight to understand the link between the democracy as a system and also civic space. Okay, next. So now we put all the data together, COVID-19, democracy, civic space, economic, human, and also SDG. The next. So this is a correlation among 6 index rankings. You can try, it will take too much time to analyze individually. So I just want to show up to your analysis later on. So now these are 7 different types of data: COVID-19, democracy, civic space, and GDP, and also Human Development Index, and also SDG. According to this SDG by the SDSN, Sustainable Development Solution Network, among 166 countries, Japan is a top 17. And then followed by Kazakhstan, 65. This is a performance assessment. Then Pakistan is a lowest, 134. But question is there any correlations between the SDG performance, GDP, Human Development Index, democracy, and COVID-19? So these are the general questions we're trying to analyze in this research project. Next. So let me show you in terms of the COVID-19, these are country data. So 203 means good, because that means the less number of deaths. So that means a good performance. Cambodia is a top, and followed by Singapore, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Japan, and Kazakhstan is a bottom in terms of performance. The next one. In terms of COVID-19, the worldometer data, Sri Lanka is a top, Singapore, and Japan, Kazakhstan. This is the order. Next, democracy. And Japan is top. India is very high, and Sri Lanka, Singapore, Nepal, and Kazakhstan is relatively low, and Cambodia, Bangladesh, almost bottom. And civic space, next. And Japan again top, narrowed, and then we have 3 obstructed: Singapore, Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Kazakhstan. The rest also repressed. Next, GDP. GDP next, please. GDP Singapore is a top, and then Japan, Kazakhstan is very high GDP, and Sri Lanka, Bangladesh. This is order. Next one, Human Development Index, and Singapore again top. Singapore, Japan, Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is very interesting. In terms of democracy, Kazakhstan is authoritarian, but GDP, HDI, human is relatively high compared to other countries. Lastly, SDG, and Japan, Kazakhstan also very high, and then Singapore, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan the bottom. Okay, so a little bit complex, So there is no single way to explain the correlation. That's why I try to identify what are the key factors which can explain about differences among 9 countries. So political system, so whether we have an effective political leadership or public trust, because this is related to the election, and then decision-making system, whether it's a prime minister or president, and the interministerial communication, and then coordination between central and the local government, and then lastly, the emergency governance or disaster management system. It's not normal circumstance. So these are the 4 key factors on the political system. And also, this is a public health issue. So whether country has a good quality public health infrastructure and also response system on communicable disease. So coronavirus is different from others. So we need a different types of response system, and also vaccine and medication availability. And lastly, civil society, culture of social trust and solidarity, and civic space, and so media information and citizen participation. So these are the key factors identified based on 9 country reports. So we are going to deeper into these factors by 5 thematic reports. Okay, so thank you for listening. So this is a basis for our reflection and discussion. So without further ado, let's go to the next thematic presentation. So we have 5. The first one will be democratic election. How election has been affected by coronavirus. Now we have Dr. Gopal. He is from President Inhured, and also he's a senior researcher of the AMFREL, which is election monitoring CSO in Asia. Gopal, you have 5 minutes. Please introduce very interesting major findings from your research, please.
Thank you very much. Can I upload my PowerPoint presentation here?
Yes, we can see now. Yep.
Oh, you can see already? Okay,
Yep.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you very much for having me in this very important conference. Very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. First of all, the COVID-19 pandemic emerged at a time when many countries, unfortunately, around the world were backsliding from democratic process and democratic exercise. So majority of the countries in the beginning of the spring last year were in a mood to postpone the elections because nobody could speculate the actual impact of the COVID-19. But things started changing, and the government started making their mind that elections should be held, using different coping strategies. So I have tried to undertake a quick research of the 17 countries in all of four geographic sub-region in Asia with 12 different benchmarks. That means the component for gauging the benchmarks with regards to how the countries complied or non-complied with these fundamental, elections. Can I go to the next slide, please? Yes. No. Sorry, I think well, yes, this, 1 second.
Gopal, I'm uploading the presentation, so please tell me which slide you want to show.
Okay, hang on. Something went wrong with this.
No, Gopal, I'm uploading your presentation. So.
Oh no. This is a different one because I have a cut short my presentation. So this is the full-fledged one. So what I can do is you can please please. Okay, great. This one. So out of 75 countries and territories worldwide, I have done some. You can see some comparison that 21.3% of the national and sub-national elections were postponed during the period of my research, as well as out of 95 countries and territories for national and sub-national elections held, 23.2% elections were held. So this is the general scenario. Next slide, please. Okay, so 18 altogether 18 elections were
Hello, Gopal. Are you online? Hello, Gopal.
Oh, seems the internet connection problem.
Yes, seems.
Okay, just a minute.
Yeah, it looks like yeah, he's frozen.
Gopal, are you okay? So maybe we can move to the next presentations. So while he's fixing the problem, may I invite James Gomez to make a presentation now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. My presentation would look at the impact of COVID-19 on media freedoms in Southeast Asia. Yeah. And I'm just trying to move the slide down. Yeah. Yeah. So my key point here is when we talk about COVID-19 and its impact on democracy and civic space, I think it's also important to consider its impact on media freedoms. Because if media freedoms are impacted, it will have a reverse impact on civic space and then by extension on democracy. And for this presentation, the key findings I will present is an unpacking of what is media freedoms. There are three components. One is how COVID-19 has led governments to lead attacks against journalists, lead attacks against media organizations. When I say media organizations, they include both, media companies as well as journalists association. And finally, an attack on the internet, examples we are seeing now on a daily basis in Myanmar. So the reason why the governments are attacking these three components of media freedoms in times of COVID is simply because they want to maintain a narrative that they are in charge and they are dealing with all of the fallouts, dealing with the COVID-19, more so than in ordinary circumstances. And they find, journalists, media association, as well as the internet may upset their narrative. So what are the key features of the attacks on journalists? I'm sure all of this we are well aware from the jurisdiction we are familiar with, but so please treat this more as a reminder. First, you will have governments and political figures issuing public threats against journalists in terms of the accuracy of their information or so on and so forth. Sometimes journalists, befall physical attacks by unknown assailants. A standard trick has always been to deny visas to journalists, and the most used feature is legal persecution, whether it's sedition or whether it's misusing some press laws and things like that. The second feature is the attack on media organizations. Again, public threats are a very popular one. That is used against owners of medias and also senior editors of medias. This was the case with Rappler and Maria Ressa, and which eventually led to arrests of another feature, arrests both of owners and editors. For years, Malaysia Kini in Malaysia had to suffer the indignity of office raids and equipment seizures. You will notice in 2018 in Cambodia, they had to use tax penalty measures and denial of license to weed the media out. Legal persecution continues to be a key feature that continued to be used, and also content removal. Last but not the least feature of the internet, and what I would suggest going to be a more expanding feature of the challenge on media freedom, media space, and including civic space, and its final conclusion and impact on democracy is really, Myanmar is serving as a case study. Myanmar, I think, is the country in Southeast Asia that has used, a nationwide internet shutdown over the last few days, since 1st of February. They also use server slowdown. Vietnam has used this. The key word they use here is throttling, so the speed of access on the internet. Thailand uses geo-blocking of particular posts on Facebook, such as those dealing with the monarchy. Again, legal persecution is key, especially netizens and individual users. And an emerging area is government social media manipulation. So government itself, keeps an army of trolls, whether in a public way or an indirect way, and they try to set the agenda on public discourse. Again, Twitter has removed a mass amount of accounts from Thailand for it being associated with the military. So to kind of wrap up here, so what is the key impact? I think such attacks on the three arms of media results in compliance. So more and more media agencies, journalists association, and internet companies comply. There's also a lot of self-censorship in terms of the type of content people put out across the platforms. If you are constantly under attack, your advertisers and subscribers run away. So there's a question of financial sustainability. Even donor-supported alternative or independent media is difficult to sustain given there is a dwindling of funds. And finally, quality of journalism. So, media platforms then move away from independent critical reporting to do more sort of entertainment, sport, and, food reporting. So that's basically it. These are some of our reports, and please look out for our briefing note on Myanmar and internet shutdown that will be released later this afternoon, and it's available on our website. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, James. A very important issue, very concise, and then get to the point. So we'll discuss further later on. What can we do about this digital the security issues, but we have all the digital divide as we experience the Gopal, So some countries, unfortunately, facing the very unstable connection. Now, Gopal, are you ready? You are back. Welcome back. So now we can continue your presentation, please. Your mic, please.
Is it working?
Yeah, now it's okay. Yes, please.
Okay. Let me, first of all, let me upload the actual the slide that I wanted to upload here. Is it done now?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, coming up. Yeah, okay.
Okay. Sorry. So first of all, I'm extremely sorry for the disruption. So what I was trying to mention is about the many countries decided to postpone the elections, but a great majority of the countries decided to hold the elections even during the pandemic. So this particular graph shows that about the voter turnout during pandemic and during the so-called normal time. So what you can see in this graph is some of the countries have done even better. For example, if you look at Singapore, the previous elections, the percentage of the voters was 93.7, whereas this has gone beyond 95. Some examples like the Republic of Korea, from 58.03 to 66.2. So what this shows you that during the height of high voltage situation of pandemic, so at least one third in average countries have done better in terms of voters inclusion and voter turnout. It is very, very interesting. So because these countries have used what you call special voting arrangements, and a lot of other prerequisites have been maintained. So that's why the voter turnout seems better. But always during the elections, there was a dilemma, about the choice and option with regards to weighing between vote and virus. So this one is an example from Hong Kong, where the Hong Kong decided to choose the virus, instead of the vote. So this is just one, cartoon public. So about the major challenges faced during the, pandemic and electioneering is very quickly. Number one, there were, of course, everybody knows there was physical constraints. Physical constraint in the sense of campaigning, reaching to the public, and physical distancing, and etc. So there has been limitation with regards to rallies and public meetings and debate, etc. So this was the major challenges faced. And second challenge faced was campaigners' technology skills, because they were not ready how to outreach to the public with regards to canvassing the public in their favor. And similar things was also applicable to the regulators, means the election regulators, EMBs, election management bodies, technology skills, like how to actually use the online technologies and modern technology, etc.
Oh, Gopal, you have only 2 minutes left now. You need to go to finding, you know.
And then public engagement, and followed by degraded information landscape, and misinformation was already there. So I will quickly go to the key findings. So these are the key findings based on the 17 countries, benchmarks litmus test. One, inclusive political consensus is the foundation, to run any election during such adversarial circumstances. And second is about there is a need for a very careful and well thought of planning with regards to ensure the better outcome. So better income. So better outcome. So you plan earlier. That means you have a better outcome. It has shown in most of the elections here. Categorically mentioned about SBA. This is special voting arrangement, because when you plan for special voting arrangements, that gains confidence of the public. So many countries have done it, but a great majority of the countries went for the similar kind of traditional methods, so which was not in conformity with these fundamental benchmarks of democratic elections.
1 minute left, Gopal. Yeah. Yep.
Effective communication using specific information, education, and communication tools for public outreach is important, together with creating a legitimate kind of an environment for observers to exercise their observation, and for independent observers, what I mean to say here. And then timing of the, and if you decide to postpone the election, active consultation with all stakeholders. Then arranging alternative methods of casting a ballot. I already mentioned about SBA is a very, very important here. This will also be part of the recommendation later. And so inclusion of CSOs in all this process is extremely vital, because without CSOs involvement, electioneering will be a futile exercise, and turnout actually will be higher if all these arrangements have been done with careful planning. So these are findings of the electioneering in Asia during the pandemic period. Thank you very much.
Wow, thank you very much, Gopal. You made it, the 5 minutes. Congratulations. Let me ask one simple question. Out of 30 countries in Asia, how many national elections during COVID time last year? Do you have a statistics? How many countries?
Yeah, I don't have the exact.
Can you write down in the chatting room?
Yeah.
How many elections out of 30 countries, nationally and locally? Because I want to know, because when we discuss later on. Okay, let's move to the next presentation.
Sure, I'll do that.
Now we go to the not from the politics to economy, inequality inequality question by Becky. Are you ready, Becky? This is also very interesting and also important issue. How the inequality issue has been affected by COVID-19. Very interesting data, and also inequality existing before COVID-19. And then this also another big issue, because many NGOs, including GCAP, Becky used to be the co-chair of GCAP, used to do this campaign. I believe you have changed it, adjusted your campaign strategy, right? Because of COVID, So please share with your ideas and your research findings. Becky, you have also 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Anselmo. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everyone. I'd like to say that thank you for inviting me to this forum. First of all, my topic is on inequality, which is SDG 10. It used to be less visible before COVID. Now it is so visible that I don't have to explain anything about it, because it is visible everywhere and everyone knows its various layers and interconnections. But that is not good news, no? Okay, some data on income inequality. Inequality generally can be defined as the difference in social status, wealth, or opportunity between people or groups. In broad categories, there are 3 different types of inequality, which are inequality of outcomes, opportunities, and impacts. No? So income and wealth inequality falls under the category of outcome, inequality in outcome. I like to focus on this because some data say that in 2019, the world's billionaires, numbering only 2,153 people all over the world. They have more wealth than 4.6 billion people. And then the monetary value of women's unpaid care work globally for women aged 15 and above is 3 times the size of the world tech industry. So this is the gender inequality and unpaid care work that is not recognized. No? So, and that taxing an additional 0.5, just 0.5% of the wealth of the richest 1% over the next 10 years can actually create 117 million additional jobs. No? And then according to the Billionaires Insight report of 2020, Asia and the Pacific has the highest number of super rich. We have 40% of the world's richest people. We have 831 billionaires with wealth totaling to US $3.23 trillion. So staggering, you know. Oxfam also released a report last January 2021. The inequality virus says that it took only 9 months for the fortunes of the top 1,000 billionaires to return to their pre-pandemic highs, while the world's poorest recovery will take more than 10 years. And then also that the increase in wealth of the 10 richest billionaires since the crisis began is more than enough to prevent anyone on earth from falling into poverty again because of the virus, and to pay for COVID-19 vaccine for all, for everyone. And then, we have trends. The World Economic Situation reports that the high unemployment would make a total number of living in poverty increasing by 130 million alone in 2020. And we will have as many as 797 million people trapped in in poverty, extreme poverty by 2030. No? So hunger and malnutrition are also expected to rise. This is the more interesting part, the next slide. This shows a graph of all countries that were studied by UNDESA. The most widely known measure of income inequality is the Gini coefficient. So this is a plot of all the Gini coefficients of all countries. The Gini coefficient says if all of the income of one group of people goes to one person, the coefficient is 1. Okay, and if all people in the same group have the same income, the coefficient is 0. So this is the range of Gini coefficients. If you look at South Africa, which is the highest inequality in the world as recorded by their Gini, it also has a very high level of COVID cases and deaths. No? So you can see from the graphs, interesting. Next, please. The preliminary study of UNDESA says those countries that have higher levels of inequality have had higher levels of COVID-19 cases and deaths. So it does not control for other important dimensions at the country level, but there is a link definitely, because you can show it in the previous graph. No? In fact, some large countries with relatively high levels of income inequality, such as Brazil, Mexico, and South Africa, and the United States of America, have actually accounted for almost 40% of the global death toll from COVID-19, while their population is only about 9.5% of the total world population. So it's interesting. Next slide. The analysis also is based on a monthly data for cumulative cases and deaths since the first recorded cases. And we saw, they saw also that the urban population has a positive and significant correlation with COVID-19 cases and deaths. While the share of the population above 65 is also correlated to mortality, but not to a lot of cases. So
you have 1 minute, Becky, please.
Okay. Results also show that poverty is not correlated with cases. No? And then if you look at the next slide, we will show that the health impacts. Government policy should not choose between lives and livelihoods. It is a false dichotomy. So because of we should base science, our decisions on science and data, we should go hand in hand, no, phased in implementation of the policy.
Okay, Becky, time's up. Please wind up. Time's up.
Okay.
The last page. Go to the last page. Yeah.
Okay, the last slide is inequality in vaccine access. 1 year after the pandemic, there is hope of recovery. But while rich countries have already vaccinated most of its populations, poor countries with poor health systems have not. So we still have to get, our supply. So the inequality is there.
Okay. Thank you. So last one is a vaccine inequality issue, which is global challenges. As you know, there is a global vaccine summit in June by the UK, and I think G20 countries as well. Okay, thank you for your presentation. And also you forgot to mention about inequality in digital technology, right? So some of our friends from especially South Asia, they are suffering, from this low internet service, poor service. So thank you, Eswari, you are back now because we have also a connection problem, right? So let's move to the next one. So now we want to look at the migration as one of the key factors of COVID-19 because they are doing the essential work for our social services, but they are the one who most discriminated, under COVID-19. So let me invite Eswari first. Can you please share major findings of your research on impact of COVID-19 on migration? Yes, you have 5 minutes, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Yes, okay. Are we just next slide, please? Right. So this is just the basic structure of our paper, similar to the Kathmandu Forum paper as well. So just the same kind of topics that we've been handling, same format, right? We've looked at state responses, and then we've looked at CSO responses in South Asia and a little bit of Southeast Asia and primarily GCC region. We've also performed a SWOT analysis and the inclusion of SDG indicators. Next, please. Okay, so our SWOT analysis was based on these 6 themes. This was part of the KMDF as well. So we've kind of used the same thing for the Tokyo Democracy Forum. Next, please. Right, so based on these 6 themes, basically, what we see is that with respect to democracy and migrant rights, there have been efforts to streamline migrant rights to labor rights by both countries of destination and origin. And this has been particularly relevant with respect to vaccines, even though we see the, we still see the issue of vaccine nationalism. Primarily, there have been efforts, at least by international organizations as well, to make sure that migrants are being included within vaccination regimes in countries of destination. So a primary issue that we see with respect to democracy and migrant rights is the complete lack of data, and we still continue to see it. In fact, after the Tokyo Democracy Forum, the reports that came out had states still struggling to maintain data systems and, in fact, even collect data during COVID. And, all of us had considered COVID as a primary, primary instance or a primary event where we could actually reset our systems, right? Where we could actually begin new, build back better, really. And we saw there was a complete lack of that. There was, or at least the efforts are still kind of building up when they should have started long ago. With respect to civil engagement has of course improved, and civil society has been recognized in both countries of destination and origin as very valuable stakeholders in the process. Of course, it is yet to be seen how far they'll be included within migration policy and policy framework and governance as a whole, right? But they've been recognized as stakeholders. For civil society organizations themselves, there have been difficulties in terms of civic space because states, of course, gain prominence within migration governance. So that is still, that is still an issue for us. With respect to migrant protection, the focus has, of course, shifted from, let's say, repatriation, from emergency services to reintegration support, to as well as resolving, unfair situations for for migrant workers that have returned to countries of destination. As part of this involves our campaign, Migrant Forum in Asia's campaign, which we have included with other civil society organizations in the region with respect to wage theft and basically the returnees that have migrant returnees, the lack of, let's say, compensations, excuse me, the lack of compensations and benefits that they have received. Many of them have been kind of repatriated without receiving their benefits, without receiving their due wages. So we are in fact, having our campaign. Please feel free to visit our website for more information on this. With respect to SDG goals, of course, we see.
That's why you have only 1 minute left. 1 minute, you have to wind up. Yep.
Yes, we see a completely undeveloped potential with respect to labor migration governance, as mentioned. We also see new partnerships between stakeholders, particularly national human rights institutions. Again, there is still intensifying nationalization of labor market within countries of destination, something that we have to look out for. With respect to engagements during COVID-19, we will still have to stress upon civil society developing long-term engagement. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eswari. So this is an overview about the impact of COVID-19 on migration. So now let's go a little bit deeper into the ASEAN, what happened to ASEAN in terms of the COVID-19 and migration. Sammy, you have 5 minutes, please.
Okay, thank you, Anselmo. Thanks, Awi, for putting it up. Next slide, please. This is a key point that we have to look at it as central to the problem of migration. And under COVID, it has become worse. This is an ongoing problem that migrant workers are human beings, but they are seen as commodities and exploited. And under COVID, it's getting into slavery-like things at times. Next, please. Next slide. Okay, this is an important point. Because of what I've said earlier, under COVID, we see these 3 things without details. Restrictions imposed on the movement of migrant workers, plus civilians. In Singapore, they have electronic tag and controls of their movements, which means 24 hours control on them. Second point, they are living in crowded and unhealthy living conditions in dormitories where the living condition doesn't provide basic health. Safety at workplace is at worst, especially for those who cannot stop working for different reasons. The third point, exclusion from social protection and lack of livelihood support, unlike citizens in Singapore or Malaysia. Social protection doesn't exist for 60% of the migrant workers and even the working population. Next one. Next slide, please. This is just to indicate the situation is more than 2 million people have been affected in ASEAN. More than 45,000 people have died by now. Okay, next slide. Next slide. This is just to show you that ASEAN, even though we boast about improving on poverty, but under COVID, under the SDG, it shows clearly we have gone backwards at this period, much more worse. Unemployment is increased. You can see the graphic. For those at level of $3.2 per day, it's already a poverty line. 162 million people have been added on. And for the worst type of poverty, $1.9, I mean, these are not good indicators in terms of money, but it is a good indicator in terms of SDG to gauge the thing. Almost 80 million people have been added on. Let's go to the next slide. This is looking at the SDG. There are 17 goals. We know that. I do not want to go into elaborating each, but the red marks on the left side, it's very important. The first one, reduction of inequality, has not happened. It has digressed. And this is one of the key factors why migrants go out of their countries with no decent job, that is 8, and 9 with, and 10 where there's no reduction in inequality. And when you look at number 16, which we are dealing with, it has regressed really, really bad. I mean, people do not see justice being done to them, no access plus trafficking and so on. So that is the reason why 16 is very important and we need to continue. Next. The SDG targets 8.8 is the key in terms of labor and labor migration. Of course, some others can say 10 and all that, yes, but I think 8.8 is the core labor standards, which has not been implemented as we have seen earlier. In labor law, in practice, no, the 17th SDGs has interconnected, but the core one, 8.8, the core labor standards are not implemented. ASEAN has 2 declarations, non-binding, but we need to implement. Next. So this is the, already I think Savitri mentioned, I think the summary of the vaccines being procured, the rich countries have. Singapore actually prepaid and it has got some delivered in the last 2 weeks, and injections are being given now. What about the poor ASEAN? Only Malaysia said it this weekend, last Sunday, that they are going to inject migrant workers free of charge. Very big question mark. In the past, during April or May, when migrant workers went to the checkup for the COVID-19, they were arrested and put in jail. So I do not know which migrant worker is going to come out and offer himself for injection. Next one, please.
Oh, you have to wind up. 1 minute left.
Yeah. It's almost to the end now. Can we go to the next 2 slides down? Okay, next one. No need to talk about impact. Next. I mean, all these have been done with in the past. I think ASEAN, I do not want to go into recommendation. Anselmo has said. I just want to conclude by saying, unlike governance, right now what we can see is in ASEAN, strong governments which has very restrictive policies in terms of movements, control, or repressive conditions have performed better, it seems, right? I mean, this is something we have to study. Why is there a very strong central government or powerful governments which implement repressive policies and stronger coordination, but the people are trusting them?
Yeah.
So I would like to stop there, but in Europe, it's the opposite. So I will not go into that. Thank you, Anselmo.
Okay, thank you very much, Sammy.
Yeah.
You have a lot of interesting element in the PowerPoint. I hope people can look at this PowerPoint to go into details, because the last question is very interesting. So authoritarian regime, democratic government, how is it impact, the result of COVID-19? This is a fundamental question we are trying to reflect and also find a way, what should be the best way to address COVID-19 while respecting the expanding civic space, including the space, political space of migrant workers. So now I would like to invite, thank you for this 5 excellent presentation. I'm sure you can find a more full report and also PowerPoint in the Google Docs. You can find the link in the chatting room. So let me invite Haruna now as the commentators. After listening to this 5 presentation and also 9 country presentation, did you learn something new from this research, especially implication for Japan and youth? Haruna, any comment?
Okay, thank you for your presentation. I would like to comment 2 points briefly. First one is about the how to monitor the situation on COVID-19 more effectively. And the second one is about the ideal type of democracy during the pandemic. Yeah. Firstly, in my impression during hearing all over the presentation, I came to think that we have to research and analyze the situations on COVID-19 by global data and indicators, of course, but also we have to use local proxy indicators and additionally voices, so their voices from civil society, because this is because I think that global statics and global indicators are not always perfect. For example, as introduced by Mr. Anselmo, Japan seem to have the highest scores in some indicators such as human such as Civic and SDGs indicators, and so on. And on the other hand, in the real situation, Japan have not always super perfect situations or the consequences in Japan. So yeah, in the context, I come to think that we have to use the collected voices from the civil society, as well as global statistics and or indicators. Yeah, that's the first one. The second one
make
is,
it short. How do I make it short?
Okay,
Please?
sorry.
Yeah, second, yeah.
Sorry. The final one is about type of democracy. At least in Japan, Japan is adapting the type of majoritarian democracy and or representative democracy. But I think this has a limitation because this under such type of democracy, voices from vulnerable populations and the minority cannot be collected fully. So in this context, especially in the emerging situation, we have to or can promote the type of consensus democracy. Yeah, that is general comments. But yeah, that is my comments.
Thank you very much, Haruna. Let's go to the Akio, please, Akio.
Okay, thank you, Anselmo, and also the 9 country speakers and 5 Semitic speakers. And so I should make my comments very brief. So I just want to focus on just one point. But I have a big concern about all the developments in the past years that many of the fundamental principles under democracy, for example, rule of law or crime by law, they were broken even in Western European countries. And also, we should also be careful about arguments such as people shouldn't talk about individual rights under crisis, because of course, those arguments could lead to some kind of arguments like authoritarianism is better responding to a crisis than democracy. So we should be very careful about those kind of arguments, or we shouldn't by ourselves abandon all the democratic principles and all the human rights principles. So of course, the roles of the civil society lies there to keep human rights as the core value in our country, also keep the democratic values within our country. So I think I have already spoken 2 minutes, so I'll stop here.
Okay, thank you for raising very important issue, the type of democracy and COVID context and individual freedom and then public. This is one of the key issues. It's not only Asia, also Europe. It's a hot debate, about individual freedom and then public security and so on.
Yeah,
what about
same in US, I think.
Yeah, US especially. Washi-san, you made also very interesting comment yesterday about South Asia, comparison South Asia and Japan. Do you have any further comment on today's thematic report?
Thank you very much for today's presentation. All of them are quite interesting for me, but maybe we should not forget about refugees, like Rohingyas or Palestinians. Who is going to give the vaccine to them? That is a matter of the global human rights issue or global democracy issue. Also same to the undocumented foreigners or victim of trafficking business and stateless people. I mean, those people usually, we often forget, not intentionally, but so that's the comment I wanted to make.
Okay. Thank you for raising that issue. So vaccine inequality, not only between countries, but also within countries, among different sectors, among different vulnerable groups. So I think this is the role of civil society, the paying attention to most vulnerable or excluded people in the time of vaccine, the distribution. Okay, so thank you for your comments. Now, when I look at time, we have only 20 minutes left. So I'd like to distribute equally 1 minute per speaker. There are few questions in the chatting room. So within 1 or 2 minutes, you can answer those questions. And also the last question about your recommendation proposal for action. So this Tokyo Democracy Forum is not only talking shop, you know, so it has to lead to the action. So please, one action suggestion, and also the other country presenters yesterday, I'll give also flow, you know, less than 1 minute. There are two specifications, and there is a one road and one build. What is the connection to that one and the vaccine? The coronavirus. The other one is a question to Eswari. This is about migration, right? So can you answer that question and also your recommendation in 1 minute? Really get to the point. Let's begin with the Eswari first and then the rest.
Okay, so we have not exactly traced remittances per se within the report because we have not, remittances, in fact, the trends have been varying across countries. Some countries, while they have reported an initial increase within the first few months, that has eventually dropped. Some countries continue to kind of maintain the same, but there are several reasons for this, including a shift from informal to formal channels, many migrants returning and therefore bringing their savings back with them. And of course, it may also reduce because, the jobs that have introduced wage cuts, but remittance costs remain the same. So there are all of these issues that come underway. We have not specifically included that in our report though, because we were mainly focusing on, migrants as Samil Durres had, said, not migrants as commodities and not migrants as sources of remittances, but rather as migrants as people and possibly the rights, that is accrued to them. Yes, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Anybody wants to make about the Belt and Road Initiative? This one, whether it's a threat or opportunity to democratic development in Asia? Maybe from anybody from Sri Lanka or Pakistan or Bangladesh? If not, I will go around. Okay, so let me.
Maybe can I interview in that Belt and Road thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Actually, I think there is a competition between who's going to provide all the COVID response packages to countries in Asia. There is a competition between China and Japan around that, and some of the higher bureaucrats in JICA really says that this is, of course, humanitarian issue, but also this is a competition with China. So I rather think it as a threat to democracy.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, this is one view. So so let's discuss later. But sorry, not enough time. Maybe you can organize another session about this issue. So let me Sammy, give me the one concrete recommendation and proposal for action.
Okay, the basic central issue is about social protection. So whether it's in Southeast Asia or other region, sending and receiving countries have to provide that. The problem is they demand
universal protection, right? Social flow, right?
Social protection.
No need to explain, no?
Okay, thank you.
Universal beyond the country, right? Universal protection flow, right? Protection mechanism.
But within the country and beyond. Otherwise,
beyond the country, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let's go to Gopal from your research. One suggestion and recommendation, please. Among many, one. Just highlight one. If you are not ready, let's go to James. James.
Yes, hi. The main thing would be to recognize internet freedoms as part of civic space, and under COVID-19, this has been severely impacted. And therefore, we need to do a pushback to ensure the space is not further compromised.
Okay, so internet, it's not only the usual traditional media, internet freedom, internet security. Okay, thank you very much. And Becky?
Yes, I'd like to call for an international solidarity action on fighting inequality all over the world. And the main call really is social protection for all.
Social protection. Okay, so as a part of our tackle on equality. And then Gopal, please.
Yes, the recommendation, my one recommendation would be to identify new method of elections, that is digital or distance, ensure special voting arrangements to achieve the highest level inclusion possible with transparency and credibility and integrity. So the focus is every country now has the time to introduce the special
So
arrangements.
new way of doing this election, in the Corona context. I think the also new meaning of the election in the digital and the many other innovative way. Okay, let's go to the Haruna. You want to also make one suggestion?
Okay. My recommendation would be to ensure sufficient transparency and accountability on the multilateral and bilateral grant aid on COVID-19. Yeah.
Okay, so aid transparency, especially the Japan and Korea, also China, those who are the ODA providers. Let's go to one by one country very briefly. Jia from Pakistan, please show your face. Those who made a country presentation, make one recommendation. Jia, please.
Thank you, Anselmo. I think what we have observed that the regional cooperation on this COVID crisis was not seen at all. So I would strongly recommend that there should be a regional cooperation among the countries.
All right,
and regional forums strengthened.
Okay, so in case of South Asia, we have a SAC not very well functioning. So this can be also challenging, how to reactivate a regional SAC and also ASEAN as well, right? So they can play the key role in tackling this issue internationally. Let's go to Ted from Singapore. Your recommendation?
Yeah, just one, right? So I would really recommend that civil society within each country try to really get together and monitor and discuss the issue of the COVID impact on the various groups. Because what I've seen is very quickly is everybody is doing their own thing, and there's really not much of a collective effort to try and discuss, even from the human rights or SDG.
Okay, so more collective, coordinated, systematic monitoring, which can lead to the real impact on advocacy, right? Okay, thank you. So that's what we are doing, building up, this Tokyo and the follow-up. What about Sovana from Cambodia? One recommendation, please.
From Cambodia, I think that the inclusive partnership is very important. Civil society organizations should have a significant role to work closely with the government to design the policy to deal with the COVID-19 pandemic. This is the case in Cambodia, like the government work alone to issue measurements dealing with the pandemic. So CSOs should have the space to engage with. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Inclusive partnership, recognizing CSO as independent yet essential actors in tackling the COVID-19. Very good. Let's go to the other country. Who is whom from Nepal? One recommendation, please.
Hello. So what is important is that we need to learn from this pandemic, and we need to focus on social security, social safety nets, and we need to work together to recover better.
Okay, social safety net, especially taking care of the most vulnerable group. Okay, so this also in line with the universal, the social protection. And then let's go to the other country. We have a Bangladesh, Shahid.
Yes, our one recommendation is communication, coordination, and cooperation must be enhanced and strengthening between the CSOs, government, regional, and international development partners, especially for learning, knowledge sharing, and technical and knowledge-based supports.
Oh, it's like a mantra, like a name of CCC, Cambodia, cooperation, communication, coordination. Okay, so among the CSO. Okay, good. Let's go to Kazakhstan. Now Sri Lanka, Isha from Sri Lanka, your recommendation, please.
For the TDF? Okay. What is my opinion is, as I always said about this, we have to go into a in-depth of democracy, what is happening in Asian countries, because taking instance of having democracy, what's going on in Sri Lanka, militarization, having democracy, Myanmar had a democracy election. So we must address those issues now and see whether we can get a good solidarity and speak the voiceless people who are democracy. Okay, and then how we can mitigate. That's my recommendation. We have to go forward.
Next one, can you be more specific? Okay, I understand. Okay, so international solidarity. Let's be more a little bit specific. We want to make a concrete recommendation. Let's go to Nuzamal from Kazakhstan. Can you be a little bit more specific? And then last one is Arjun from India. Arjun from India, are you in the room? Arjun Philip, recommendation based on your research and discussion yesterday, today. Nuzamal, I see the name William Gois. It's our last chance to speak.
Hi, Anselmo. I think it would be really good if we can look at what are the SDG indicators and come up with some goals or targets looking at it from a COVID perspective and our research.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So linking our research to SDG, which is we have 10 years to go, right? More systematic approach rather than ad hoc approach. Okay, and then Arjun, are you still around? I see your name. And Nuzamal, if not, Owashi already made a recommendation. And then Aoi, you are as an overall moderator and facilitator this one. From, I believe you have a more overall perspective. Aoi, you also can give us 1 or 2 recommendations.
Yeah, I think I would suggest that the regional governments and also intergovernmental bodies such as ASEAN, including development cooperation agencies such as JICA or COICA, should strengthen their ODA to civil societies in recipient and also donor countries,
Okay,
in order to tackle with COVID-19 and also secure civic space.
Yeah, okay. So how we can support each other, particularly JICA, COICA, to support shrinking civic space, tackling shrinking space in the many developing countries. Of course, we have to also make sure that we have also our own civic space in our own country, but the many countries, especially in Asia. So I think we need to really build the international solidarity. So thank you very much for your contribution. And so you can write down your comments so we can all put together, as I promised in the beginning, we are going to draft, the 10 main recommendations we'll circulate among speakers and participants so that we can use these 10 recommendations for our action. So when we meet next year, Tokyo Democracy Forum, so we review whether we are implementing what we agreed to do, right? So that's what Tokyo spirit of democracy. And also, as I announced, there will be also another democracy forum in Gwangju and more. So then let's continue our reflection. Meanwhile, let's try to implement, what we learned from each other in our country, in our sector, so that we can use this COVID-19 as an opportunity rather than threat to build solidarity among CSOs. So thank you very much for your contribution once again. So let's give a big hand to everybody. And then lastly, have a group photo with the 3 fingers in showing our solidarity with our people in Myanmar and so Thailand. 2 fingers. That means we have a 2 struggle in Thailand, interlink, Thailand and Myanmar. So are you ready to take a photo? 2 fingers. 2 fingers. 3 fingers, 2.
Oh.
Okay. And then who is going to take a photo? Akio, are you taking photo? Okay, 1. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Okay, thank you very much. See you soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is the end of the session of Tokyo Democracy Forum. We'll soon start the next session.
Oh.
So you can also download today's presentation materials via the Dropbox. You have received the email, and also you can go to the Slido for downloading the link.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Yep. Now, let's leave now.